Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 21st of April 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last, but I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. And guys, I just want to discuss about Affairs Cloud application. The application name is Careers Cloud. So guys, remember the application name is not Affairs Cloud, application name is Careers Cloud, and this application will enhance your performance and it will cover every type of exam like banking and insurance, SSC, railway, UPSC, and all type of the current affairs. Guys, you can download with very simple method. We put a downloading link in the description box. You can download from that link. After downloading, you can log in with your email ID, and after login, this crack current affair window will appear. And after clicking on this crack current affair section, you can subscribe for 1 year and you can subscribe for 2 years as well. It means you can subscribe for 12 months or you can subscribe for 24 months, and both the subscriptions prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. But first of all, what we are providing under this subscription, we are providing daily current affair. In the daily current affair section, we are providing three type of the current affairs. Like first is the detailed current affair of particular day. Next is the question and answer format of the current affair of particular day. Third is the quiz section, which you can attempt on our application daily. Next is the weekly section, and in the weekly section we are again providing the three sections for particular week. One is the detailed current affair of particular week. Next is the question and answer format of the current affair of particular week, and third is the quiz section. It means you can attempt this quiz on our application and you can check that how much current affair you can retain for particular week. Next is the monthly section, and it is the most important section because we are providing various type of the PDFs according to your exam. Like first is the study PDF. It means the detailed and theoretical current affair will be provided to you every month. To revise this current affair, we are also providing question and answer PDF. It means after reading the study PDF, you can check that how much current affair you can retain. You have to just revise through the question and answer PDF. Next is the top 100 current affair. It means the best 100 current affair will be provided to you. That is also provided in the question and answer format so that you can revise again and again. Last is the pocket PDF in the monthly section, and as the name suggests, it is very important to revise the current affair in quick format. So one or two lines will be given for one current affair so that you can revise again and again. So guys, this is daily, weekly and monthly current affair, but we are also providing smart PDFs. Smart PDFs stand topic wise current affair. If there is a weakness in one section or particular section, then you want to just revise that section, then you have to pick this PDF. Like if you just want to revise the apps and web portal of all 2021, then you can pick this PDF. If you want to revise important days of all 2021, then you can pick this PDF. If you want to just revise the books and authors of 2021 before your exam, then you have to pick this PDF. It means we are providing 20 type of the PDFs like obituary, national current affairs, international current affairs, sports, so that your current affairs section will go strong. And guys, these are also known as the smart PDF because this will definitely enhance your performance. And guys, next is the banking awareness section, and again it is very important for the banking aspirants because we are covering the two sections under this banking and economy section, because we are providing banking and economy PDF. It means the detailed PDF and question and answer also provided to you related to banking and economy. There is a quiz section which you can attempt on our application and check that how much banking and economy current affair you can retain. Next is the exam PDF. This is again very important because if your exam is in September, you can't revise the 7 or 8 PDFs till September. So you have to just revise from one PDF because we are compiling every month current affair in the single PDF. So this is known as the exam PDF, and very important current affairs are covered under this PDF. Next is the special current affair. We are covering budget and economic survey. We are providing the important facts and the detailed budget and economic survey. We are also providing the expected question and answer which can be asked by the examiner, and it is very relevant for you. Next is the state current affair, and the students who are preparing for the center government exam like SSC, banking, they are also preparing for their respective state exams. So that's why we are covering every state and union territory so that your state and union territory examination can be be cracked. So guys, these all things comes under only one subscription. You have to just download this application from the description box link, and you have to log in with your email ID. After that, you have to click on this crack current affair section, and you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 year. Both the subscription price is very much low. And guys, remember, we are also providing 10% extra discount on that minimal cost if you use this code ASH10. And guys, one new thing, that if you have any query, you can email on this email ID, and that is support@affairscloud.com, or you can call on this number. You can also comment on the video section, and we are also taking queries in the comment section, and I am personally basically replying all the students which have queries. So you can feed this number and you can email us on this email ID. Now we can move to the 21st of April 2021 current affair, but I am again requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, because we have a target of 700 plus. You have to subscribe this channel and you have to share this video as maximum as possible. So let's begin today's session with the most important question section, and here is the first question. Who is appointed as the chairman and managing director, or you can say the chief executive officer of DCB Bank? So mark this question in the most important section, especially if you are a banking aspirant. And guys, I am giving you a hint that he was not basically appointed, he was reappointed by the Reserve Bank of India, and this person is Murli Natarajan. So answer of this question is C, Murli Natarajan, and he became the managing director and chief executive officer of the DCB Bank for another 1 year, and his time period for 1 year will start on the 29th of April 2021. It means he will retire on the 28th of April 2022, and he was appointed as the MD and CEO of this DCB Bank in May 2009. It means 21 years. It means not 21 years, basically 11 years. 11 years he was the MD and CEO of the DCB Bank, and his time period is extended for 1 year. And guys, remember about Murli Natarajan. Before joining this bank, he worked in the foreign banks such as the Standard and Chartered Bank, Citibank, and you have to just remember about the DCB Bank. DCB Bank is the first bank in India to start Aadhaar-based ATM. Aadhaar-based ATM. That is the DCB Bank, and it was started in 2016. And guys, remember about DCB Bank establishment in 1930. Headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra. And what is the tagline? This is important. We value you. This is the tagline of DCB Bank. And who is currently the chairman of this DCB Bank? You have to remember, the name is Nasir Munji. Nasir Munji is the chairman of this DCB Bank, but who is the managing director and CEO? That is Murli Natarajan. Other appointments are again important. If you see the first three options like A, B and D, and the first is the Vishavir Ahuja. He was appointed as MD and CEO of RBL Bank. Which bank? RBL Bank. Next is Matam Venkata Rao. Again, very important personality. He was recently appointed in March 2021 as the MD and CEO of Central Bank of India. Central Bank of India. Next person is JK Shivan, and he was recently appointed as MD and CEO of Dhanlaxmi Bank. Remember guys, this is very, very important. Dhanlaxmi Bank, because RBI firstly appointed the 3 members Director of Directors Committee to handle the Dhanlaxmi Bank operations, but now in January 2021 they appointed JK Shivan as the MD and CEO of the Dhanlaxmi Bank, and Murli Natarajan was reappointed as the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of DCB Bank for 1 year. So guys, you can see the picture of the Murli Natarajan and DCB Bank MD and CEO, but you have to remember one very important thing about the DCB Bank. It is the first bank in India to start the Aadhaar based ATM in 2016. Now we can move to the next question, because we discussed all the options. Here is the second question. Which company became the first company to cross billion transactions in unified payment interface? It means this company has become the first company to cross 1 billion transactions on unified payment interface, and the company has crossed over 1.3 billion transactions on its platform across payment offering of the wallets, cards and the UPI in March 2021, and this company is guys PhonePe. So guys, remember this company is PhonePe, and PhonePe has been seen a growth in UPI transactions to 975 million in February 2021. Now they crossed the 1 billion transactions. So guys, remember this is PhonePe. And remember about PhonePe. PhonePe's chief executive officer currently is Sameer Nigam. Remember, Sameer Nigam. Very important, guys. Remember this. And headquarters is in Bengaluru, Karnataka. So remember these things. This is just a simple question you can remember as in the slide. Now we can move to the next question. We covered all these things. Next question is Puma India, leading German sportswear brand, signed a long-term endorsement deal with which Indian cricketer? So the main keyword of this question is Puma, because Puma hired two another Indian cricketers for their brand ambassadors, and guys, these two cricketers are Washington Sundar and Devdutt Padikkal. So answer of this question is both A and C. Already they have Yuvraj Singh, they have Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, even in the Bollywood they have Sara Ali Khan. In the sports category, they have Duti Chand. In the Bollywood, again, they have the Kareena Kapoor. In the sports, they have the MC Mary Kom, Sunil Chetri. So they are the some of the brand masters of Puma, but they hired another two Indian cricketers known as the Washington Sundar, and one is the Devdutt Padikkal. And you can also remember that Washington Sundar belongs to which state? Belongs to Tamil Nadu, and he is just 21 years old, and he is the youngest T20 cricketer, because he joined the T20 cricketer in the 18 years to represent India at the international level in 2017. And Devdutt Padikkal, very famous player, he is just 20 year old, and he belongs to which state? He belongs to Kerala. So he is the Indian cricketer who represent Karnataka and India under the 19. So guys, remember Devdutt Padikkal and Washington Sundar. Already they have Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, Sushma Verma, Yuvraj Singh, Sara Ali Khan, MC Mary Kom, Duti Chand, Kareena Kapoor Khan, Sunil Chetri, and there are some of the brand ambassadors of the Puma. And Puma signed as the official kit partners of the Royal Challengers Bangalore in the IPL 2021 season. So you can see here Puma ropes, Washington Sundar and Devdutt Padikkal. So you have to just remember the names. And recently Puma signed an official kit partners of the Royal Challengers Bangalore in the IPL 2021 season. So you have to remember this information. This is very, very important. Now we can move to the next question. All the most important questions now covered. Today we discussed 3 questions in the most important section, but now we are moving to the very important question section. But again, I am requesting you, all the students, that you have to provide us 700 plus likes and maintain this dignity. And guys, please share this video as maximum as possible, and please subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. So here is the first question in the very important section. Reserve Bank of India set up a 6-member committee to evaluate the role of asset reconstruction company. The committee will be headed by whom? So a very simple question. If you belongs to banking aspirant category, then you have to remember this question in the most important category, that RBI formed a 6-member committee to evaluate the role of the asset reconstruction companies under the SARFAESI Act of 2002. The committee will be headed by whom? This committee will be headed by Sudarshan Sen. So guys, remember, this committee will be headed by Sudarshan Sen. This 6-member committee will evaluate the role of asset reconstruction company in stress debt resolution and review their business model. And guys, you can also see this, that the Reserve Bank of India appointed 6-member committee for the asset reconstruction company review, headed by the Sudarshan Sen. And who is this Sudarshan Sen? He was the former executive director of the RBI. So guys, remember this. And it is to evaluate the role of asset reconstruction companies in stress debt resolution and review their business model. There are another 5 members, but you don't have to remember the members, you have to just remember the chairman. And guys, remember about asset reconstruction company. It is a financial institution that buys the non-performing assets or bad loans from the banks and financial institutions and help them to recover from the NPAs. It means all the NPAs will be converted into assets by the asset reconstruction companies, and they are registered under RBI and regulated under the SARFAESI Act of 2002. Guys, remember, it is registered under the SARFAESI, SARFAESI, SARFAESI Act of 2002. What is the meaning of SARFAESI? SARFAESI stands for Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Securities Interest of 2002. And what is the capital needs of this asset reconstruction company? The net owned funds of ARC should be rupees 100 crore or more, and they also have to maintain a capital adequacy ratio of 15% of its risk weighted assets. It means they can take 15% of total risk of their total assets. And you can also remember that asset reconstruction company will have an asset management company to manage and sell bad assets so that they can recover the money. The banks will get 15% of the cash and 85% of the security receipts against bad debt that will be sold to the ARC. So this is the main function of the asset reconstruction company. I think all is clear now. And friends, you can also remember one recent related news about the RBI committee, because recently RBI appointed a five-member standing committee, which is headed by former RBI Deputy Governor Shyamla Gopinath. We covered this question, but you have to remember, I am writing here the name Shyamala, Shyamla Gopinath, for evaluating the applications for universal banks and the small finance banks. It means there is a committee, that is five-member committee, for review the working of the small finance bank. So this is very simple, you have to remember, and it is Sudarshan Sen. And recently M Rajeshwar Rao was also in news, and it was most important question because RBI appointed or you can say announced the setting up of a regulatory review authority, which is also known as RRA 2.0. It is the second regulatory review authority appointed by the RBI to review its regulation internally and in consultation with the other stakeholders. And M Rajeshwar Rao has been appointed as the head of this RRA 2.0. M Rajeshwar Rao is currently the one of the deputy governor of the RBI. And recently BP Kango, that is Bibu Prasad Kango, one of the deputy governor of the RBI, retired as a deputy governor because he completed the time period. So guys, you have to remember all this information which I told you, and some extra points you have to write on your notebook. So this is most important question if you belongs to banking aspirants category. Now we can move to the next question. Which organization announced its partnership with Habitat for Humanity International to help microfinance institutions? And this organization will not only help India, this will help Bangladesh, India, Bhutan, Indonesia and Philippines. But in first phase, they are not including the Bhutan. Firstly, they are including Bangladesh, India, Indonesia and Philippines. It means this organization and Habitat for Humanity International made a partnership to help microfinance institutions in providing housing loans to low-income families so that their housing dream can be fulfilled in rural and semi-urban areas of Bangladesh, India, Indonesia and Philippines. Later on, Bhutan will be added. And this organization is, guys, Asian Development Bank. Remember, organization is Asian Development Bank. You can see this Asian Development Bank and Habitat for Humanity International housing micro loans for the India's vulnerable community. And they are not only providing to India, they are also providing the other three countries like Bangladesh, Indonesia and the Philippines. You can also see this. It is to help microfinance institutions in providing housing loans to the low income families so that their housing dream can be fulfilled in the rural and the semi-urban areas of these four countries. And in the first phase, commercial banks will be provide $13 million financing for the housing loans to the microfinance institutions. This partnership aims to provide technical expertise to the microfinance institutions in delivering housing micro loans. And it also aims to extend Asian Development Bank's microfinance risk partnership and guarantee program by providing micro loans for housing, home improvement and water sanitation for vulnerable communities. It means it is not only for the housing community or the housing loan. It belongs to home improvement and also the water sanitation for the vulnerable community. And ADB microfinance program has helped more than 6 million borrowers gain access to the better housing, because they are providing loan to the microfinancial institution and microfinancial institution again providing the loan to the households. And under this they are targeting that they will provide loan to the 20,000 households by partnership with the microfinance institutions in the first phase. It means in order to improve the construction quality and climate resilience by upgrading semi-permanent structures and the installing sanitation and water connections, loans will be given to around 20,000 households by partner and microfinance institutions in the first phase. And about 90% of the financing is targeted for women micro borrowers. This will help in the empowering women. And out of this 90% loan, it means only given to the women. And Asian Development Bank microfinance program has helped more than 6 million borrowers to gain access to better housing. It means 6 million borrowers can fulfill their dream of housing. So guys, remember about Asian Development Bank. This organization is important for you. This organization basically established in 1966. President is Mast Sugu, and headquarters is in Manila, and member countries are 68. And out of 68, India is there. It means 68 membership countries including India. So remember, it was established in 1966. Headquarters in Manila, Philippines, and president is Masuku Asakawa, and total member countries are 68 including India. So don't remember, for Habitat for Humanity, this organization basically belongs to Georgia. Its headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. Don't remember the CEO or the chief operating officer. Just remember it's a Georgia organization, or its headquarters is in the Georgia. Now we can move to the next question. Who is nominated as the new Prime Minister of South Korea? This is one of the very important question, because South Korea country is very important. North Korea is currently ruling by monarchy. Now we are discussing about South Korea because there is a democracy in the South Korea, and it is very one of the technological advanced country, and it is South Korea, and new Prime Minister of South Korea is King Boo-yum. So guys, remember the answer is B, Kim Boo-yum. This is the name, and he become the new Prime Minister of South Korea. Moon Jae-in is currently the president of this country. Remember, he is the president of this country, and new Prime Minister of South Korea is Kim Boo-kum. And guys, this Pham Minh Chinh is elected as the Prime Minister of which country? Elected as the Prime Minister of Vietnam. So you have to remember, he was elected as the Prime Minister of Vietnam. Names are a little bit difficult, but I am again repeating that who is elected as the new Prime Minister, that is Kim Boo-kum, become the new Prime Minister. Moon Jae-in currently the President of South Korea, and Pham Minh Chinh, PM. I am giving you hint that this PM word stands for the Prime Minister of Vietnam. So remember this question can be asked. And guys, remember about South Korea. South Korea President Moon Jae-in, capital is Seoul, and currency is South Korean won. So remember this is very vital information you are getting. And guys, remember, he will be appointed only after the Parliament of South Korea approved the nomination of this president. And the president has also nominated the new ministers for the labor, land, science, trade, and the ocean ministry. And guys, you can also remember that this person, Kim Boo-kum, was the former Minister of the Interior and Safety of this country, that is South Korea. So you can see the picture of the Kim Boo-kum, who is appointed as the new South Korean Prime Minister. But the main leader of this country is President. So guys, we can move to the next question. And you can also see this is very important. And you can also remember Kim Boo-kum will be the third Prime Minister under the government headed by the President Moon Jae-in. Now move to next question. What is the name of the first unit of indigenously built ALH, that stands for Advanced Light Helicopter Mk3 Mark III aircraft, which was commissioned into Indian Navy? So you have to tell me just the name or just the number, so that we can cover this question. So it is one of the advanced light helicopter, and it is named as INS 323. So the number is INS 323, and INS stands for Indian Naval Air Squadron, and this will comprise of 3 ALH Mk3s. It will be commanded by the commander Samik Nandi, but you don't have to remember the name. And this is developed indigenously by the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, one of the very pioneer institution of the Defense Ministry, because it is a private institution, but so many contracts comes under the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, by which Defense Ministry can achieve the target of indigenously building defense equipments. And the squadron will perform roles like search and rescue operations, special operations, and the coastal surveillance. So guys, remember, it is INS 323. You can see this is basically a helicopter, and its name is INS 323. It is commissioned at Goa at the first unit of indigenously built ALH Mk3. ALH stands for Advanced Light Helicopter Mark III, and enters into naval service, and it was inaugurated at INS Hansa in Goa. And you can also see here INS 323 squadron will comprise of 3 ALH Mk3s. It will be commanded by the commander Samik Nandi, but you don't have to remember, and it is developed by the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And guys, remember, Chief of Naval Staff is Admiral Karambir Singh. Headquarters is in New Delhi. And guys, you have to remember about HAL. HAL headquarters is in Bengaluru, and who is the chairman and managing director is R. Madhavan. Remember, this organization is very important for the defense sector. Now we can move to the next question. What is the name of the co-founder of Adobe who developed PDF or portable document format, passed away? So guys, you have to tell me one of the co-founder of Adobe who developed this PDF system and also recently passed away. And answer of this question is, guys, P. Charles Geschke. So guys, remember Charles Geschke is one of the co-founder, and also he developed the portable document format, and he recently passed away. And you have to remember, he recently passed away at the age of 81 in San Francisco, United States of America. He was also born in United States of America. He worked at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, and in 1982 he founded Adobe along with the John Warnock. So guys, remember, another co-founder is John Warnock, his colleague from the Xerox. And in 2008, US President Barack Obama awarded the National Medal of Technology and Innovation to him and John Warnock. So guys, remember the two persons who founded this Adobe, and we are using in very simple manner now we can read the PDFs because of these two persons, that is John Warnock and Charles Geschke. But Charles Geschke recently passed away, so you have to just remember the name, you have to remember the country. And in 2008, Barack Obama, then President of United States of America, awarded the National Medal of Technology and Innovation to him with the John Warnock. So guys, remember this. Now we can move to the next question, but you can also read this. And he belongs to United States of America, and he was working at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, in which 1982 he founded the Adobe with the help of the John Warnock. And guys, he also won this medal from the Barack Obama. We covered all the questions. Now we can move to the next question. What is the name of the helicopter which will take controlled flight on Mars? And this is a helicopter which is developed by NASA. And name of this helicopter is Ingenuity. So guys, remember, this is very famous. Ingenuity, the experimental Mars helicopter of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, became the first helicopter to take powered controlled flight on another planet like Mars, and this is hailed as a Wright brother movement. And guys, remember, its main aim to demonstrate that powered controlled flight is possible on Mars. So remember, the name is Ingenuity. So you can see here, NASA's Mars helicopter makes history with successful flight on the red planet, and you can say it is Mars. And this is the basically structure of this Ingenuity helicopter. You can see here, and Ingenuity is a mini 4-pound or 1.8 kg helicopter which carried a bit of the wing fabric from the 1903 Wright Flyer or the Kitty Hawk, the first successful heavier than the air-powered aircraft. That's why it is also hailed as the Wright brother movement. And the Ingenuity was taken to Mars along with the Perseverance as rover and landed inside the Zero crater. So guys, remember, the crater is Zero and the rover is Perseverance. So two things are very important. What is the name of the rover? Rover name is the Perseverance, and name of the helicopter is the Ingenuity. So these two things are very, very important. And recently, first image was published by NASA, and the first black and white image from Ingenuity showed that the copter shadow on the surface of the Mars, and the video of the Perseverance captured the first flight on Mars. So this is very, very important. So guys, you can also learn about the other missions or the other giant successfully helicopters. Like first is the JUICE. JUICE is basically known as the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer. So guys, remember, Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, that is the abbreviation of JUICE, or you can say it is an interplanetary spacecraft in development by the European Space Agency or ESA, and this mission is being developed to visit the Jovian system, focused on studying 3 of the Jupiter's Galilean moons like Ganymede, Callisto and the Europa. And they can find basically the liquid water beneath their surfaces, making them potentially habitable environment. And it can be launched in the June 2022, and would reach Jupiter in October 2029 after 5 gravity assist. So this is the main mission of the European Space Agency. Next is the Artemis. This is very famous mission, and it is a moon program, or the moon's mission will be launched by the NASA. And guys, remember, its goal of landing the first woman and the next man on the moon, especially on the lunar south pole region, by the year of 2024. Next is the Lucy, and it is again very important. This is a NASA's Discovery program name, and it is scheduled to launch in October 2021 to explore 6 Trojan asteroid and a main belt asteroid. So this is the basic discovery program to explore the asteroids and the, you can say, the main belt asteroid. This program named is Lucy. So guys, remember all these things. Now we can move to next question, but you can also remember recently NASA administrator, new administrator was appointed, named as Bill Nelson. Bill Nelson. Now we can move to the next question. Renowned writer Padam Shri G. Venkata Subbai passed away. He was famous writer of which language? So very famous Kannada writer. So answer of this question is B. Very famous Kannada writer Padam Shri G. Venkata Subbai passed away, and he was 107 years old, and he was born in 1913 in Mandya in Karnataka. So you have to remember he belongs to Karnataka. By the language you can guess that he belongs to Karnataka state, and he was well known for his work on the Kannada dictionary, science known as the Kannada Nighantu Shastra Prichaya. Remember Kannada Nighantu Shastra Prichaya, and he was popularly known as the walking encyclopedia of the Kannada language and the culture. His grandfather was a Sanskrit scholar, his father was Sanskrit as well as the Kannada scholar, and now he was the Kannada scholar. It means all the generations are basically Kannada or the Sanskrit scholar. And this person was very popular Kannada writer, editor and noted lexicographer who had compiled about 12 dictionaries and had done many editorial work. So you can see the picture of this Padam Shri and Kannada writer Ganjam Venkata Subba dies, and he died at the age of 107. And guys, remember he was awarded Padam Shri in 2017. In 2017 for his contribution to literature and education. He had also won so many awards, including the Kannada Sahitya Academy Award and the Pampa Award, that is very famous in the Karnataka. And he served as the president of Lexicographical Association of India for 17 years. So you have to just remember the name, you have to remember the language writer. This is the important thing, or by the language you can guess that he belongs to Karnataka state. So these 2 or 3 things are very, very important. And he was also known as the walking encyclopedia of Kannada language and culture. Now we can move to the next question. Which of the following is not one of the official language of the United Nations? So this is the most important question, or you can say it is a very important question in the static GK, that how many official languages are of United Nations. So you have to remember there are 6 official languages of the United Nations. So very important question, and the answer of this question is Arabic. No, Arabic is the official language. Chinese is also the official language. French is also the official language, but Japanese is not an official language of the United Nations. So answer of this question is D. So guys, Arabic, Chinese, French, English, Russian, and one is Spanish. So these are the 6 official language of the United Nations, and recently United Nations celebrated or observed Chinese Language Day on the 20th of April. So guys, you can just remember, because you can't remember the 6 days which were celebrated on different dates. So you have to just remember that recently this Chinese Day or the Chinese Language Day was celebrated on 20th of April, because there are different days I am writing here, so you can just read this. The French Day is celebrated on 20th of March. We also covered this question in the March. Chinese Day we already covered. This was celebrated on the 20th of April. 20th of April. Arabic Day is celebrated on 18th of December. And guys, the remaining 3 languages like English is there. English Day is celebrated on 23rd of April. And we will cover this question again definitely. And Spanish Day was celebrated on 23rd of April. So there are 2 days which are celebrated on 23rd of April. It means after 2 days it will be celebrated. And Russian Language Day is celebrated on 6th of June. So these 6 days are basically celebrated. So remember this. This is very, very important question. The most important thing here is the official language of the United Nations. And there are 6, and each dedicated to one of the 6 official language of the organization. You can also see this United Nations Chinese Language Day, 20th of April 2021. Now question is, why 20th of April? Because 20th of April was chosen from the Gyu, the 6th of the 24 the solar terms in the traditional East Asian calendar, which pays tribute to the Kangeji, or you can pronounce Kangzai. And Guyu means rain of millets. And Kangxi, an important figure of the ancient China who was also known as the official historian of the Yellow Emperor and the inventor of the Chinese characters. So 6 official languages we already covered. So you have to just remember these things. Now we can move to the next question. Next question is all very important questions are now covered. We are moving to the important questions. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you can press this bell button if you are not receiving the videos on time. So guys, here is the first question in the important section. Union Minister Piyush Goyal launched Startup India Seed Fund scheme, which was announced by Government of India recently, and how much corpus fund is provided under this scheme? So answer of this question is 945 crore rupees is provided for this seed fund, and its main objective or the main aim to provide financial assistance to startups for proof of concept, prototype development, product trials, market entry and commercialization. It means all type of the categories which will be tested through the startups, and all the financial assistance will be provided by the under this Startup India Seed Fund scheme. And the duration of this scheme is 4 years, which is starting from 2021-22. And guys, remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced this scheme in the January 2021 during the Prarambh Startup India International Summit, which was held to commemorate the 5th anniversary of Startup India initiative. So guys, you have to remember what is the amount, 945 crore rupees, and it is released by the Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal because this seed fund schemes comes under this ministry, and he is currently the member of Rajya Sabha from Maharashtra. And Minister of State is Hardeep Singh Puri. Also, Hardeep Singh Puri is the Union Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs. So you have to remember this. Now, you can also see this time period is 4 years, and it is just to provide the financial assistance to startups so that they can do so many things for the startups, like prototype development, product trials, market entry and the commercialization. And how it will work, basically there will be a committee that is known as EAC. EAC stands for the Expert Advisory Committee, which will be created by the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and all the incubators or the startups will be selected by this committee that is known as Expert Advisory Committee. And rupees 5 crore will be provided to eligible incubators which are selected by the Expert Advisory Committee. Rupees 20 lakhs will be provided to startups for validation of proof of concept, prototype development or the product trials, and investment of rupees 50 lakh for the startups for market entry and commercialization or scaling up through convertible debentures or the debt like instruments. So guys, you don't have to remember this information. You have to just remember how much fund is provided under this scheme, and this scheme comes under which ministry. Now we can move to the next question. Australia announced INR 8.12 crore grant for Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative. This initiative was launched in which year? So the most important keyword here is Indo-Pacific Ocean, and it is a tie-up of India and Australia announced almost 8 crore grant for this ocean initiative, and this was launched in which year? This was launched in 2019. This program was launched by Narendra Modi in 2019 to safeguard the maritime domain of the Indo-Pacific region, especially from the China. And it has outlined 7 pillars to achieve this. You can see this Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative. Australia announced rupees 8.12 crore grant under the partnership with India, and it is also known as Australia-India Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative Partnership. And the grant program will encourage proposals from the Australian and Indian stakeholder to share expertise and resources. It was launched in 2019 by Narendra Modi ji, and it has outlined 7 pillars to achieve this initiative. And Australia is lead partner on the maritime ecology pillar, that is one of the 7 pillars, and it will serve or share best practices on reducing maritime pollution, especially focus on the plastic waste. And recently France had joined the maritime resources pillar of the Indian partnership of the Indian Ocean initiative. So guys, remember this is not so much important question, but so many information you can gain from this news. And guys, remember about Australia. Australia Prime Minister is Scott Morrison, and capital is Canberra, currency is Australian dollar. Now we can move to the next question, and it is from picture. It is basically information that Cyclone Amphan of 2020 resulted in $14 billion economic losses in India, and it is a United Nations report. So it is a very, very expensive cyclone, and it is a report known as the State of the Global Climate 2020. 2020. It is released by World Meteorological Organization. And you can also see this report is basically published by World Meteorological Organization, and cyclone Amphan, which made landfall in the India and Bangladesh border in May 2020, caused economic losses of almost 14 billion USD to India, only India. The Bangladesh expenditure is different from this. And guys, remember, due to this cyclone, around 2.4 million people are displaced in India, mostly in the West Bengal and Odisha, because these states are very much affected, and 2.5 million in the Bangladesh. And it was the costliest tropical cyclone on record for the North Indian Ocean. And guys, remember, 2020 was one of the 3 warmest years on record. First was 2016, second was 2020, and third was 2019. 2016 was the warmest year. If we are talking about these last 10 years, 2020 was the second warmest year, and 2019 was the third warmest year. And 6 years since 2015 have been the warmest on record. 2011 to 20 was also the warmest decade of the record. So you have to remember, because these all things comes under this report that is known as State of the Global Climate 2020 report. And its temporary report was released in December 2020, but now it is a final report. And this report also suggested that the concentration of the major greenhouse gases continue to increase despite temporary reduction in the emission in 2020, even due to lockdown caused by the COVID-19. Even then, the greenhouse gases are increasing. So remember about WMO, that is World Meteorological Organization. Its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. And how many countries are member? 193 countries are member. Now we can move to the next section. It is the one-liner important point. Here is the first point. Justice Sanjay Yadav appointed as the acting Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court. So guys, you have to just remember the name. It is not so much important. If you belongs to Uttar Pradesh, then you can remember. Otherwise, it is not so much important that who become the Chief Justice of one of the High Court. But you can remember that total High Courts are 25. Next is the noted Marathi filmmaker Sumitra Bhave passed away at the age of 78. Because she was the Marathi filmmaker, that's why you can guess that she belongs to which state? She belongs to Maharashtra, and she died at the age of 78. And in 2016, Sumitra Bhave feature film Kasav won the prestigious President Golden Lotus National Award, and he had also won the national award for her film Bhai and the Pani. Apart from this, she had won Maharashtra State Award several times for her films. So guys, remember the name, that is Sumitra Bhave, and she belongs to film industry, and she belongs to Marathi film industry basically. Next, Finance Minister expands scope of ECLGS 2.0 and includes healthcare sector. Already this scheme that is known as ECLGS. You have to remember what is the meaning of this abbreviation. This meaning is the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme 2.0. Now it includes healthcare sector. Already they are including 26 sector under this scheme, but now one more sector is included, that is the healthcare sector. So you have to just remember, and you can also remember the Ministry of Finance has extended this, and they included this healthcare sector under this, and this 2.0 already includes borrowers from the 26 sector identified by the Reserve Bank of India, and this is by one of the committee report that is known as the KV Kamath committee report. So you can also remember, because it is established by the RBI. So there are 3 schemes that is known as ECLGS 1, 2 and the 3. 1 means all MSME borrowers comes under this scheme, and 2, we already covered that 20 sectors identified by the RBI and constituted by the committee of KB Kamath committee. Now healthcare sector also included under this section. 3 means hospitality, travel, tourism, leisure and sporting sector comes under this section. Eligibility, if the outstanding credit is not more than 25 crore or up to 25 crore, if the outstanding credit is 50 to 500 crore, and if the outstanding credit is up to 500 crore. This is the basic eligibility of this emergency credit line guarantee scheme, which will be provided by the Finance Ministry. And how much loan will be provided? 20% of the entire outstanding credit in the both categories of 1 and 2, and in the third category 40% of the total outstanding credit, because these industries are mostly affected during COVID-19, and that's why the time period of this industry is more if we are comparing to the 1 and 2, and the moratorium period is also more than the other categories, like 1 and 1 year in the 1 and 2, and 2 year in the third category. If you belongs to UPSC examination category, then you have to remember these things. These are very, very important things. Now we are moving to the next one-liner point. Former Sri Lankan cricketer Dilhara Lokuhete banned for 8 years under ICC anti-corruption code. So again, one player from the Sri Lanka banned by the ICC, and it is for the ICC for breaching the ICC anti-corruption code. So guys, remember, this time it is Sri Lanka cricketer named as Dilhara. You have to just remember it is Dilhara, and the ban has backdated to 3rd April 2019 when he was provisionally suspended, and he was the 4th player of Sri Lanka to be charged with corruption. So guys, remember, he was also charged by the ICC on behalf of the Emirates Cricket Board for breaching 3 ECB anti-corruption code for the T10 league in 2017. So name is Dilhara. Next is Government of Ghana to acquire 100% stake of Airtel Tigo from Bharti Airtel. In 2017, 2 companies were merged. One is the Airtel Africa, second is the Millicom Limited. These 2 companies are basically merged and they become the Airtel Tigo, or you can say 2 companies like Airtel Ghana Limited and Tigo Ghana Limited, both merged and become the Airtel Tigo as the mobile operator. And Bharti Airtel, which is based in New Delhi, operates in 18 countries across South Asia and the Africa. Now Government of Ghana acquired 100% stake of this Airtel Tigo from the Bharti Airtel. And remember about Ghana capital is Accra, or the Accra. Currency is Cedi or the Kedi. You can remember because it is Ghanaian Kedi, and president is Nana Akufo-Addo. Next is the global CO2 emissions set to touch 33 billion tons in 2021, second largest rise in the emission. It is the International Energy Association report. So if we are comparing with the 2020, it is an increase of 5% if we are comparing with the 2020 level, and it is the second highest increase in the emission ever, and it would be the biggest annual rise in the emission since 2010. The major reason of increase in CO2 emission is due to rise of the coal demand, and coal is set to grow by 4% in 2021, surpassing its 2019 level, and electricity sector accounts for the 3/4 of this increase. So guys, this is International Energy Association, headquarters is in Paris, France, and how many countries are member of this organization? 30 countries are member. Now we can move to the next section, and next is the question of the day. What was the question of 20th of April 2021? Question was, which of the India's first payment bank? We are talking about the first payment bank of India. So very simple question. I think all the students are right, and answer of this question is Airtel Payment Bank. Answer of this question is Airtel Payment Bank. And yesterday we discussed about the payment banks. What are payments banks? What are the restrictions on the payment bank? And guys, remember, Airtel Payment Bank was launched in January 2017 by Bharti Airtel, that is India's largest telecom provider, to support the cashless revolution promised by the government of India. So this is Airtel Payment Bank. Now we can move to the question of the day. Question of the day is, what was the paid up capital of RBI when it commenced its operation as the Indian Central Bank on 1st April 1935? Because all you know that RBI Act was passed in 1934, but RBI was established on 1st of April 1935. And when it was established, what was the paid up capital of the RBI? This is very static question and very easy question. You can answer only in the comment box, because I am entertaining all the comments and I am answering all the comments now. So you can check your comment also. So you have to just comment me this answer. So I'm waiting your answer. So guys, please provide us 700 plus likes. Please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform, and please share this video as maximum as possible. And guys, press this bell button so that you can receive notification on time, and it is a Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section definitely. And it is my personal promise that if you are watching the videos daily and if you are reading the current affairs from the PDF, your current affairs section will go strong, because 90 to 95% current affairs which are covered by Affairs Cloud is can come in your exam. So that's why you have to subscribe our PDFs and you have to download our application link is given in the description box, and we are providing 1 year subscription as well as 2 year subscription. So guys, we are also providing the 10% extra discount if you use this code H10. And guys, remember, don't take life so much serious. Life is fun, life is beautiful. Always be happy. Happiness is the key of success. So thank you guys, take care, and bye bye.